Anyway, let me make a start. Please, if you have any questions as we go through, because we're a small group, that's absolutely fine. But as you probably know, if you've read anything about this, this is a 5-day training that the Link Centre is offering on trauma called Emerging from Emergency. It looks at quite a substantial lot of different theory. From day 1 to day 5, we go through everything from memory, neuroscience, diagnosis of PTS and PTSD, different tools and techniques to support people through different types of trauma. That includes everyday trauma, complex trauma, different levels of trauma as people go from PTS to PTSD. And there'll be lots of examples of working with trauma, both in individual practice, in couples and relationships, as well as with on-site work. On-site work includes critical incident work, which involves things like terrorist attacks. More recent ones, for instance, I've done is working at the Louvre after there was a heist. They're going to LA for the fires and supporting people in group and individual settings. And there's more information on the Link Centre's website homepage, as well as on my website. There's a more detailed discussion, and there's a video of me describing what the course looks like. So this evening is really just to see if you have any questions or any information you need that I can answer directly.
I've got a few questions.
Yeah, great.
If that's right.
That's fine.
So sort of just some practical stuff. How many spaces are there on the course?
It's normally limited to 20, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then do you do sort of small group breakout work as well then?
Yeah. So it's there's a lot of didactic teaching in the group, but I also try and set up the group so it feels more like a community where we can help each other, offer up each other's examples of caseload, client work. And then we will do exercises that include CBT, practical exercises in smaller groups in breakout rooms.
Okay. So and so you've mentioned CBT there. Is there any other sort of modalities that come in within the 5 days?
Yeah, so we look at Gestalt theory, transactional analysis, Jungian analysis, Adlerian psychology, CBT, and different psychodynamic tools.
Okay. I've got one more as well.
Yeah, go ahead. No, it's fine. Don't worry.
Hog all the time for people. And how you mentioned the trauma within couples as well. How much of the course is couple orientated?
It's more trauma.
Okay.
It's on trauma, but we do look at things like trauma bonding, for instance.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And relationships work.
Okay, so it's more individual trauma, and that could present within couples work.
Yeah. So if you're interested in couples, what I'd highly recommend is the couples training, actually.
Well, I'm not. So.
Oh, you're not? That's fine. That's fine.
That's why I'm asking, because I didn't want too much couple orientated stuff.
Okay. That's fine then.
Really
no, I really want to, I mean, it will look at groups because if people are interested in working on site, for instance, with incident work, there will be a sort of model about how we do critical incident support on site. And that involves looking at running groups as well as individual work. But I also really want to make it work for the group itself. So, for instance, at the beginning of the training, as well as our sort of our introductions, I really want to hear what people want to get from the course. And we'll try and make it as bespoke as possible.
Okay. And is there any sort of signing up by date? When's the last time you can sign up for it? Assuming that there's still spaces.
Yes, I don't know, but if you email admin at the Link Centre, they'll be on top of that. No.
That's right. I'm a clinical year 3 student at the Link, so I can ask them directly. So
great. Okay. Yes, read at leisure on the website. There's sort of a breakdown of the what's covered in the 5 different days. But see if there's any other questions to the floor. Easy audience.
Can you expand a little bit more on what the experiential work would be? Sort of give some examples of that.
Yeah. So we will be looking at some of the different trauma theories that have come together in the meta research done particularly by the New Haven projects. Look at stages 1, 2, and 3 in trauma. So stage 1, for instance, is about grounding and mentalization and stabilization after the impact of trauma. And we will experiment with some of these ourselves in a safe way, like looking at the safe space exercise, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, sensory exercise, different grounding techniques that we experience in our small groups as an exercise. And then we can think about using that on site and in some of our trauma work as stage 1. Stage 2 is much more looking at where people get stuck with flashbacks and images, and helping people move through some of the stuck stages of trauma. So thinking about that, there will be some exercise. I can think of an example. There are things like the projection screen exercise, which I won't go into today, but it looks at distorting images that are stuck as flashbacks or overwhelming images that someone has in their thinking. And that's stage 2, where they're processing the trauma, compared to stage 1, where they're just in survival mode. And stage 3 is much more thinking transpersonally about trauma. So really paying attention to how we integrate trauma as part of our story, and how we may even emerge from the emergency with more empathy for others, for instance. That's a fairly normal one, and normal thinking in Zen Buddhism. As well as how does it change my perception of my life? Does it mean that I start to think about how I structure my life, how I spend my time, am I in my vocation, and so on?
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah. And I'm not sure that I would be able to go on this course that's coming up, just because I think I'm away for one of the Fridays.
Okay.
Do you know when you're likely to run the course again?
I don't actually know. Maybe in the autumn, winter, but we haven't talked about that yet.
Okay.
Last year we did 2 in a year, so there might be 2 this year. Otherwise, it would be next year.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. And sort of, you've mentioned sort of critical incident work, but will there be a lot on developmental trauma as well?
Yeah, and how we remember trauma, how we think about childhood and the different stages that can happen in child developmental trauma. Yeah. So small T and big T, as it's called. Yeah, there's the more episodic trauma as well as developmental trauma.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Hi. I wanted to check. I haven't started seeing clients yet. Would that be a limitation for me attending the course?
No, I don't think so. I mean, what normally happens with these courses is, there's 20 plus people, so there will be a lot of resource in the room to talk about examples. I will bring examples too. Quite often I use the group to see if people are thinking about a particular client or whatever. But if not, I will bring examples.
I'm hoping my placement would have started by the time the course starts, but yeah, that's not. I'm not quite there yet. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. No, fine.
That's kind of just answered one of my questions, actually, because I was going to ask if we can bring specific case examples and client work, the people that we're actually working with at the moment, into the training.
Yeah, the idea is that we bring the theory alive with clinical examples, and it's great if the group are happy to do that too. We'll have a confidentiality agreement at the beginning so that people feel it's safe and secure to talk about what they need to. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why we do stage 1 mentalization and grounding exercises, because some of this material can be quite activating, or we really need to feel secure before we go into the depth of the theory, because talking about trauma, you can imagine, can instigate feelings in themselves.
You mentioned about groups there as well. I'm fortunate that I've got a day job which I work in substance misuse services, and part of my job I'm hoping to be able to bring in some groups within the service as well with the clients of the service. Is there much training within this around using some of the models and the exercises within a group setting?
So we'll be looking at a critical incident support model of groups. That's quite different from running. Is it like a weekly group you run?
Yeah, that's it's only a it's an embryonic idea at the moment.
If you wanted more support on weekly groups, that might be more useful to do the group training that's on the Link Centre website.
Yeah, that's on the plan as well.
Yeah, great. But we will look into how we use psychoeducation, for instance, within groups, and normalization of normal experiences of an abnormal event. All of that we'll be doing, and that's usually run in a group for efficiency's sake before we move into individual work on site.
Yeah. Well, that's certainly what happens at work. I mean, I don't do any of the groups anymore. I used to a long time ago. So, but I don't do that as part of my role now. So
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Great. Good luck.
Yeah, it's all a bit, nice ideas at the moment.
Yeah, it takes a while to form it and do it very well, I think. Okay, any other questions? Great. Okay, well, if you do think of any, as I said, the administrative questions are answered by Aisling. But if you have any other questions for me, you can always look at my website. It's just my name, Jonathan Lake, and I can answer any questions you might have from there too.
Is that jonathanlake.com or
.co.uk?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks for your interest.
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Okay. Take care.
Thank you very
Okay.
much.
Bye.
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 Bye.